welcome to the season 2 recap of our season 2.
Welcome to the Department of Redundancy Department.
This is a season 2 recap. We're going to talk about season 2 and moments that we liked and moments that we thought were funny and maybe moments that we didn't like. I don't know, maybe.
And spoiler, whatever else we feel like.
Yeah,
Well, that's not really a spoiler. Talk about it at all.
Yeah.
That's
Or we
a
might not.
normal, the normal thing we do.
Welcome to another episode.
Yeah.
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 Maybe
Great.
we'll talk
I'm using
about
all of
the
those.
books.
Done. Let's start.
Ta-da.
Moving
If
right
people are
along.
listening to our podcast still, they're just like, yeah, whatever.
Still.
They're just like, is it started?
Okay, this is what they do.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we have what is the funniest or most uncomfortable or favorite moment and or episode for you?
Goodness.
Just think of moments.
Require remembering.
Really,
So
that's really why.
I need anybody to talk about anything, and then I'll get my.
You know what? Something's kind of stuck with me, and it's a fairly recent one.
Mhm.
Because last time we had Kirsten, right?
Yeah,
Kirsten. Okay. On, she was talking about BPA in receipts, which like I can't get out of my head. And then Eco Justice sent out, I think it might have been like a TikTok that was talking about all these like chemicals that are in everyday things and how the Canadian Environmental Protection Act has not been updated since like the 90s, and they're trying to like strengthen it. So it's like that's really stuck with me, being like, why is there high level of BPA? And they talked about the receipts in there. Why is there high levels of BPA in receipts and how it affects people? And part of the things they were highlighting is chemicals that are in makeup. And it made me think of like, you know, the Michael Keaton Batman, how like Joker put all these things in the in the toiletries and cosmetics and stuff to make people crazy. And I was like, that's basically what happens now, except for it's mostly just women who are getting affected. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe there's other stuff in like shampoo that's affecting everybody. So like, we're kind of living in this like Michael Keaton Batman world. And if you're going to choose a Batman, Michael Keaton, am I right?
Yes.
All right.
Confirmed.
Want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Is that?
Best line ever.
I think that the same thing about like reading The Handmaid's Tale, like at the risk of bleeding into next episode. I was thinking the same thing though. Like her dystopia, her fictional dystopia sounds like it's just an observation about where we're going.
Okay, I don't want to get into it because
Scary.
I have something to say about that. So let's bring it up on the next episode.
Fine.
I can say
ready
something
to get
about
into
the
that.
receipts.
Yeah,
I went home,
receipts, yeah.
or I went to work and told my boss. I was like, all these receipts, because we touch thousands and tens of thousands every like year, anyways. So I said, so he's looking into it. I don't know if it's going to happen, but he was looking
There's
into
the
it.
like, I know that
Yeah.
there's this like when people use Square at the market, like you have the option, like how do you want your receipt mailed to you, whatever, no receipt, like maybe that's an option.
I've
Or
now
gloves. Maybe you guys can get, it's a fancy restaurant, so maybe you can get fancy gloves.
all the time you're wearing, like we don't have time. We're so
We don't have time for gloves.
No, I don't mean to put them on and
Put
off.
the
Maybe you
gloves,
could
put the
have-
gloves off, put the-
No, I mean just keep on.
Just
They
wear
could be,
them
like,
on
fancy.
because you're fancy.
with like a
You could-
buttons that come
They
up the
could go
side.
up to your elbow.
sure.
It'd have to have like
I'll-
rubberized fingers so you could actually grab things.
It
Yeah,
could be
I'll
like one of those
No, like it would
Kardashian
have to be
outfits.
functional.
If COVID comes back, you could not even show your face. You could just have a full bodysuit, gloves, mask, all the
Yeah.
way to the boot.
I
Could it
definitely
be a
think my bosses
fancy
will go for that.
bodysuit?
Fancy?
That sounds comfortable.
I think it should definitely be sheen.
Lycra, like
Oh.
Yes, shiny.
And then on the back, you explain why you're dressed like that because the Canadian Environmental Protection Act has not been updated and there's chemicals in your receipts. Don't touch them with your bare hands.
There you go. Now your
so
problem's been
claustrophobic.
solved.
I'm sure that your high-end restaurant will be totally for
Yeah.
that
Complete
political
change of brand.
statement.
I'm taking it in, and I'm gonna process
Recommend-
it and
just
maybe I'll
ideas.
pitch it. Yeah.
I'm just spitballing here.
Just spitballing.
But that really
this
stuck
video.
with me from this season. It's just like, what? And I know it's like later in the season. It's hard to remember things that happened earlier on.
It's the recency
You want,
effect.
I know
for
what I think the funniest moment of the season is when we were doing bird calls. I think I
Oh, that
shit my
was
pants
God.
That was fun.
It was
Especially your
really
bird
good.
calls, Sarah.
Wait, Kim had one. It was
No,
the,
Kim was the
Kim's was
best.
great.
Kim.
Kim's
What was
great.
it called again?
Forgot.
Frittata?
Ricotta.
Who knew? So many words that sound like that.
Can you still do the ricotta call?
So many times it's calling me when I'm walking around, and I always
Oh
try
my
to
God.
capture it, and like it knows, it goes silent. You want me to ricotta
Ugh.
right now?
Yes,
Just one.
do it.
Just one ricotta would be nice.
Yeah.
Or two if you have to.
Okay, listeners, prepare your ear holes.
Gracious.
You in the
lot of
holes
holes.
today.
wait.
It's just not as like mine sounds really like
Shocked.
aggressive
Aggressive?
or something, or in
Yeah.
pain. Like it's not like it's cleaner. But I
I want a
more
nice clean
control.
I have
call.
like a raspy voice. I don't know. That's it.
Yeah, that was
It was
good.
a fun episode.
I think one of the most uncomfortable things, no offense to Leah, but was her book. I think a lot of you guys in particular, that was just a really difficult book for everybody to read. Well, some of you to read. And so I think that was uncomfortable even for us who didn't feel as, that it hit us as much, that you going through that felt difficult. So sorry to bring down from the humor to
No,
that.
that's
but
okay.
That's okay.
That
But
was
on the other
probably-
side of things, it's kind of like, I mean, it was uncomfortable, yes, but it kind of highlights like trauma and how like it's hard to see how it, especially if you've experienced it, you kind of hide it, like you try to keep it to yourself or whatever. And so like how it can affect, and then a book like that can show people who don't have that same reaction. I don't know. I think it kind of highlighted what the reaction can be, like a broad spectrum of reactions to that book. But for some people, it's like, oh, it's just a book. And for other people, it's like, it can change
I know I made everyone uncomfortable.
Their day.
Like,
I don't know how to
take
say
a
it.
break. I
know,
had to
it's
like
like-
walk away
But
from
I,
the sun. Yeah, that was uncomfortable.
Looking back now, I think, why did you guys finish the book?
just kidding. Sarah
That's
You
called
didn't.
me.
Okay.
I was
And Sarah
curious.
goes-
Yeah, you put it down.
Sarah's like,
I put
tell
that-
me
Sarah,
it
Mary,
gets
did
better. Sarah's like, tell me it gets better. Like, I was like, you should stop reading now.
No.
And I did
Yeah,
finish the
yeah,
book. 'cause
stop
I
it.
just
Oh, so you
like,
did
oh my
quit.
God.
And you did?
I did finish
Is
it.
there a book that you didn't finish in both seasons? I think you finished everything.
I
No,
didn't
Burnout. You
I
didn't finish Burnout.
I couldn't.
Oh, you
Yeah.
didn't finish
Burnout.
Burnout. Yeah, that's funny.
I can't.
Of
I can
all
be
books,
like, I can
that's
do
funny.
it. I can
You
do it. I was
burnt
like,
out
I'm just
overnight.
gonna finish it. That's how I feel about all the books. I'm like, if I'm not feeling it, I'm like, I'm just gonna finish it. I'm just gonna go through and like. Women Who Run with the Wolves from last season, I sped through and skipped some parts, but I did get through. Like, I made sure I
You
read
did get through it.
yeah.
Something
parts
from
of all of
each
it.
section.
Something from each section.
Yeah.
But yeah, Burnout. Every time I came back, I'm like, yeah, of course I can read this. But I read it, and there was something about the writing or the style or something about it. I just couldn't. I was like, I can't.
Yeah, what
Book interrupted.
My interruption is this cute little bundle of mischief. She just came home for the first time yesterday, and she was up every hour in the night to go to the bathroom, weren't you? But you're getting comfortable now, aren't you? Comfortable enough to bite all sorts of things. She smells like a puppy.
Book interrupted.
Midnight
For
Library
everyone.
was fan freaking. I loved that one,
Yeah.
and it was my
That
I
was
think my
good.
favorite like surprise book of the season. I wasn't
Me too.
expecting to enjoy it so much, but I think I also
That was
just
my
like
favorite book this
Virginia.
season.
Yeah,
That was my
Virginia
favorite
is
book this
also
season.
lovely.
Was The Midnight Library. I loved it.
Yep, same.
I think because it was a
So good.
fantasy book. And it was like such a good fantasy, and it was like such a nice break from, I don't know, other books. That was my favorite part of the whole season, was having Ginny on.
Mm-hmm.
I like have I shouldn't stake any claim in it. I was just so impressed by how such a natural. Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was such a natural. I knew she'd be good because I know she's an avid reader, but she was fantastic at the podcasting aspect as well.
And she's coming on next season, I saw.
She is. She's going to be on The Giver. She's one of the sheep.
Nice.
Take a look.
Ah.
One of the
I
sheep.
can't wait. Is it up
What
yet?
does that mean?
Sarah?
Yeah, it
Is
is.
it up?
Go to
my God,
it's really good.
www.bookandrop.com.
Oh my God. I
Yeah,
have to
if
check
you
it
go
out.
to our website,
I'm going right now.
www.bookandrop.com, and you'll see all the different books we're doing, and then you'll see the sheep picture. And me, Mare, Kim, Kara, and Virginia are sheep.
Which
Very
leads
good-looking
us to, that's one of my favorite things about the podcast is the doing the silly pictures as well as the playlist for a second year in a row. I just think those are so fun, those activities.
It's kind of nice having like people help curate some playlists for you. You know, like I'll pick a couple
Yes.
songs and somebody else does. You hear music you've never heard
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
What's
This
so
website
funny?
is amazing.
Isn't it good?
I checked it out. Guys,
I was like,
this
what's
is
so funny?
You can do
good.
this-
Like,
do
I was
a
like, I didn't think what I
screen
said was very funny, but thanks.
Oh, you're on the
It's
website.
hilarious. Sorry, I just had to check this out, the sheep, and it's so funny. Guys,
very
this is
funny,
really
yeah.
good. Holy smokes.
I like Leah. I like you as Katniss Everdeen. You're
I like me as Katniss Everdeen as well.
I know you look a badass.
I
in that
agree.
picture.
And then there's like Sarah popping out from behind the bush. What really makes me laugh is the Handmaid's Tale and Mary. Like, peace. She doesn't make any sense. So funny.
I couldn't
Oh
find
my
Kim. I
God.
was like, "Where's Kim? Where's Kim?" I was like, "Oh, she's right there, like right at the very front of that one."
So
You don't notice
good.
her right away.
Jessica
He is
Odie.
a fantastic web
Hat
designer.
tip to you. Yum.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's so good. And the first draft, I don't know if you guys saw, but the first draft of the sheep picture, she actually made us into sheep. Like
It
it
was
wasn't
pretty
just
amazing.
faces, but I was like, I think only we would be able to see who's who because it was like just the eyes really that you could kind of see. So I asked her, can you make it more like our faces so that listeners could pick out who we are? And she said, sure. But she actually made us into sheep.
She was like, well, it took me a while to
Oh
turn
my
you into
God.
sheep, but I guess I'll just do the
Everyone's
easy
a
way.
sheep. This is what I look like. Who else? Like my favorite book was The Midnight Library. You want to go around and say who your favorite book was this season?
Let's list. Somebody list all the books first, and then we'll do it.
Oh, okay. So the first book was What Happened to You. The second book was Talking to Strangers. Then we had What the Robin Knows, The Midnight Library, Fun Home, Burnout, and They Called Me Number One.
Do we have to choose our favorite book that was not our own book?
No.
No, you can pick
choose
whatever
your
book you want.
Yeah.
You can
You can like
reveal
your
that
own
you're an
book.
egomaniac if you like, right?
I
now.
love the bird book.
I love my books. I love my choices.
I love myself.
I'm the best.
Yeah, me.
This should be a show just about me.
Yeah.
Season 4, Meredith chooses all the books. And then it's just me. No one ever is like, no, we're not reading this.
Yeah.
I like immediately forgot the list.
Oh, I thought
Oh.
yours was your favorite book.
I did really like I think I probably liked Fun Home more than everybody else did. I really liked Fun Home. And I'm even reading Madame Bovary, which I think is referenced in Fun Home. I was like, what is this
What
book
isn't?
about? What isn't, right? So I was like, maybe I'll read some of those. I saw it in a used bookstore and I picked it up for $2.
Is it good?
And it is good. And it's like kind of sexy, but it doesn't talk, but in like a 1700s kind of way or whatever.
Okay.
Right? So it's weird because you're like, this is sexy, but it doesn't talk about it's not like, it doesn't get into any details, right? It's kind of, anyway, so it's got a way, I guess the writing has a way, but I did love the bird book.
What was your? Can we say best favorite and least favorite?
Yeah.
Sure, if you want to. Go for it.
All right, Meredith,
Well,
what's your
least
least favorite? Oh,
Was was obviously What Happened to
Burnout.
You. That was really.
Oh, was it?
Oh.
What happened to you?
Oh, or Burnout. It was Burnout. I'm sorry, Kara. But What Happened to
Okay.
You was my least favorite time because I found that period very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Lindsay, you go next. Favorite book, least favorite book.
Probably a tie between Talking to Strangers, because I'd never read a Malcolm Gladwell book, so I thought that was really interesting in the way that I learned a lot from that book, so that was good. I love to learn. So, and then I like The Midnight Library because I like fiction, so for me that was like a good reprise from all the other stuff. My least favorite book, actually, I really like Call Me Number One too, even though it took me forever to read it. I feel like that one, sorry, now I've just named half the books, but
Yeah.
I really also like
And
and then my least favorite, maybe probably What Happened to You, just because I just didn't like, for me it was okay, but it was, I think so, I don't know. Yeah, like, what were the other ones? A lot of them were a struggle for me this year. In all honesty, the other ones were all a struggle for me this year to get
Fun
through.
Home, your own book. Did you like it, or?
Yeah, it was okay. Like, I liked it, but I wouldn't read it again. Like, I don't even think, in all honesty, I don't think any of the books that we read this year were my favorites or that I would read again.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Like, when it's my turn, I'm like, I don't feel like
Mhm.
anything qualifies as my favorite. Like, none of them did that for me. So I feel like I shouldn't say, like, Midnight Library, I really liked the beginning of, and then by the end I was like, and least favorite, same. I didn't really like, the Burnout one, I also chose not to read it. I was just like, I don't like the way, like, it was about tone, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say personality or like personally attack the authors or anything like that, but like, I didn't enjoy the conversation, or I don't know, what's the word to describe the
tone,
style?
I think,
is tone right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
style,
And
because
but
remember
also,
they had fictional stories you
those
didn't
got
like.
overcomplicated
Style.
for me. And same thing with What Happened to You. It wasn't so much the topic, because that's a topic that I like to learn about, but it was
the style.
It was the style. I hate the conversation, like the contrived, like, and they say this. Could you tell me more about that? Or in Burnout, like characters exampling, like.
I understand what you're saying, if that helps.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't like the style. Cool.
The style. is what
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kara, what did you like and didn't
classic
like?
Kara. I think you guys know my personality enough now to know, like, was there anything I really didn't like? No, there was something out of everything. Like, loved Midnight Library, loved Malcolm Gladwell's Talking to Strangers. I appreciated Funhouse in that it was just so refreshing to try something different, like a graphic novel. Did I like love it? Do I dream about it on the daily? No, but I appreciate having been exposed to something different. Similarly, like with the Bird book, I probably wouldn't have sought it out myself, but similar to the playlist, isn't it nice that we all collectively go into curating our reading list? So it was nice to, conceptually, I love some of the themes that came up out of the Bird book, but like, am I going to read it again? Most likely not. So I don't think I hated any book.
I don't usually read any book again. Also.
Oh,
so,
really?
That's not saying
I'm
something. You know what I mean?
A repeat offender. If I
forget
something,
it
then I'm
proper.
like, Precious, don't worry, I'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Like, it's so disturbing.
You
That
never
is
got
a
to
good
Leah.
Oh,
Leah
yeah.
never
Oh,
told
yeah.
us
Oh, yeah.
what book she loved or liked and didn't like.
Oh,
Yeah.
Shoot. Okay. I didn't love, sorry, I didn't love what the Robin knows. I just didn't get it. Like, I couldn't, but it was very niche.
Very niche.
Very niche.
It was.
But I could see why, if you're into birds, it would totally be
But the
interesting.
question is, do you notice
And I
birds
did
more now?
Oh, for sure.
I absolutely notice birds now, and I did pass that book along to someone who's into birds. So that being said, like, I think the group, I don't think there's a reread from this season that I would put on the coveted reread shelf. but my favorite book actually was actually They Call Me Number One. I didn't think I wouldn't have guessed that, but I found it. I thought it was like, aside from the content being pretty sad and, you know, just like a sad book, the storytelling style really came through for me. It was very vivid for me.
I wanted to, like, after I finished and then Lindsay started talking, I was like, oh, I wanted to say this too. So to build on your point, Leah, I didn't realize, like, when we read it, I felt like guilty for wanting to say, like, well, that was easy to read. You know what I mean? But then our conversations,
weirdly, it was like a good, easy to read, pretty easy to read, a sad topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I loved about it was it revealed, like, it was like almost like experiential learning of how dissociative she had become, I guess. I mean, this is our interpretation, but it does really make good sense, it seems, that like she had to become that sterile or whatever you want to call it in order to survive like her early child experience.
And did anyone else listen to it as well as read it?
No. Did you listen to it? Was it audio?
I listened and read it, and she
did she do the voice?
She's, she's the reader, and it is very, I would say,
straightforward.
Again. And then, but what I found really interesting is when she talks about, you know, coming home to grandma's place and like the food or like, you know, the berries they pick, all the, like the happy moments. Her tone was exactly the same, exactly flat.
Yeah.
But you could tell the storytelling was so vivid somehow. I don't know how she did it. You could just tell those happy memories were so happy. Like it came through, even though she was almost monotone. Yeah, it was to me, it was the best storytelling.
Like I felt like it was really, I don't know if fulsome's the right word, but like layered. Like it was an ongoing experience of learning and understanding. Like just reading the book was such the tip of the iceberg, or like the very, very surface of what you can get out of it. I think I'm grateful that we had it in this forum because we could talk about it. I'm not sure I would have been able to get the depth of knowledge, like our understanding without the conversation after the fact too, because I was stuck on the, like, I'm so privileged, like, oh, it's so easy for me to read this book or whatever, right? Like I just didn't, I was stuck in myself, right? And by talking about it and hearing everyone's personal journals and everything, it really enhanced my experience of that book. And like, I just feel like in terms of like Indigenous storytelling, I think that is kind of a whiff of the experience of what it's supposed to be like when they're using storytelling. Like I feel like that's how it's supposed to play out, is that you have a story, but then it's like the listener who does all this digesting and understand, like it turns into something else, or it becomes a different experience. Like it's so much more than just the words. It's not one dimensional, it's like 5-dimensional. And I feel like we got like a whiff of the experience of that as outsiders.
The experience as opposed to the emotional experience. It was like she let us decide our own emotional experience, because she wasn't, like, obviously when she's telling the stories of the school, like obviously that would be incredibly challenging, and obviously I'm sure she felt emotions, but the repressed nature of like her repressing her feelings, and I don't know, it was like you got the information without necessarily having to feel it.
Yeah.
Meredith said it well. She said, like, the author's not trying to manipulate your emotions. She said often authors, when they're writing, part of their mission is to manipulate your emotions because they're trying to get you, you know, to feel their book or whatever. And she was just telling her story.
Storytelling and like a learning.
All right. Well, I guess that closes the season.
Can you guys please tell me a bit more about the books you're doing for the third season?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the books we're doing next season are The Handmaid's
Tell how we picked them too.
Oh yeah, we voted. So first of all, next season's all banned books.
Not like
season-
guitars, like books that people have said you should not read.
Band books. We're reading about the
Oh.
trombone, the tuba, the tambourine.
Band
Band.
books.
books. They're all banned books, and we are doing one episode a month going next season. So we're doing less books,
Book
as
Interrupted
well.
Light.
Book Interrupted Light. So we are doing The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. We're doing
The Giver.
Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, The Hunger Games. We're doing The Giver by Lois
Lois.
Lowry.
Lowry.
And we're doing the
Absolutely
Diary of
True
the-
Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie.
And then you're
Those are
also
books.
doing a fan book.
Yes, we're doing
Which-
a fan book.
We don't know what it is yet.
No.
So that's going to be exciting.
Well,
Do
I'll
you-
probably announce that soon. She's going to tell me soon. We do have a fan, and she's deciding what book she wants to do right now.
Who's the fan?
Yeah.
Her name is Ashley,
Hmm?
and she's
Hello,
been listening
Ashley.
since the beginning.
Wow,
nice.
that's exciting.
Women
So
Who Run with the
she's-
Wolves. She loves the book club.
Yeah. She's the
Awesome.
type of
Thanks,
listener
Ashley.
who will appreciate the intro to this episode. She's like, yep, she sounds right. See? If
She's a
still
super
listening,
fan.
She's a super fan.
She's a super
She's listening
fan.
now. Be like, I wouldn't
She'll
go that
know.
far. Come on,
Yeah,
guys.
I'm
Yeah,
out.
you're right. She might be like, no, she's so nice. She said she would. say
She
yes.
would say she's a super fan. Totally.
Yeah, she's so nice. Yeah,
And so
she's-
certain different members are going to be on different episodes as opposed to everybody all the time. And I
Yes.
will potentially pop in once in a while, probably
Yes.
pop in once in a while,
Nice.
including to talk about The Handmaid's Tale because it's one of my favorite books. So I might just fall.
Yay.
It's
Sticks
such a
around.
good read.
We'll see.
Do you watch the show? Anybody?
I'm
I
going to watch it
started
after
watching it.
reading it.
It's too
I can't watch it.
disturbing and
I can't
upsetting.
I'm still in the
Oh,
first
I'm in.
season. I just started.
I've
And
never watched the show.
watch it. It's
I'm
good.
going to watch
It's
it.
well done, but it's
I like that actress.
Mm.
God, yeah.
Oh,
Moss.
yeah,
I think her last name's
Elizabeth.
Moss. Elizabeth Moss.
Do you know that
Elizabeth
Margaret
Moss, yeah.
Atwood does a cameo in the first season?
Cool.
I love that too.
I think she's the she's
How
a
Stan
producer.
Lee of her.
When the handmaids go to that detention center with Aunt Lydia, and they're learning how to. She's one of those people, and she said it was. I do her
She's an
master
aunt?
class.
She's an aunt?
I think she's one of the aunts, but she's in that scene somewhere because I did a master class with her, and she said writing the book is one thing, but she's like being on set with all the stuff. She was like, it was very difficult for me, like
Oh, yeah.
uncomfortable. She felt
Yeah.
uncomfortable
Oh.
to see
in
it
it, in that
realized.
world.
Mm.
Yeah. She's like
Sure.
being in it is way different. It was very traumatic, and with the shaming part where they're shaming the girls.
Mm.
Oh,
I mean,
Yeah.
that's hard anyway,
Yeah,
watching somebody be shamed.
Mhm.
yeah.
I'd like to say thank you for letting me be a part of this over the past 2 years. And I'm sure I'm going to pop in once in a while to participate with you guys because I love seeing you. And I think that's the best. And the thing that I love to do is to see all of you. I feel emotional today because I'm really tired. So, yeah, I just, for me, it's just too much, but I really appreciate being able to see all your faces. So I think that's why I'll probably just pop in once in a while just to say hi and see what you're doing. And I've also read half of the books that you're reading next year, so I can pop in and talk about those. And I did want to read The Giver, and then that other one sounds really cool. So I'll definitely be reading along and listening and supporting.
Pop in anytime.
That's so funny.
honestly.
We're like, Lindsay's
Seriously.
leaving. Let's pick all the books she'd like this
I
season.
know.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't like any of the
True.
books for 2 years.
Yeah, I
And then-
know. And now you're like,
Absolutely. There's no self-help, none whatsoever
No.
this
You
season.
guys suck.
I know. And two of the books I know are your favorites.
We're just trying to lure you back.
We're just trying to
Apparently.
bring you back because we're gonna miss you.
Oh, I'm gonna miss you guys
You're gonna be
too.
missed.
but-
So you should come on.
Kara and I
give us
are
your 2 cents.
part timers next season too. We should explain that Kara and I will just be doing one book
One
cycle
book.
each. I am doing the
Games.
Hunger Games. I almost said The Handmaid's Tale. The Hunger Games.
Yep.
And
Yep.
And I
Kara's
have
doing
What
The
are you
Giver
doing?
Giver, which I can't
Oh, yeah.
wait. Oh,
Yes.
for the
can't
vote. Yeah.
wait.
Because did
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
explain
so-
that? Yeah, we voted on all our books. So what we did was we came up with a whole bunch of banned books, and then we voted on which ones we were going to do this season. So it isn't one person's pick, really. So yeah, Kara's going to do The Giver. Leah's going to do The Hunger Games. Me, Kim, and Meredith are doing everything. Lindsay might pop in, and Virginia, our fan Virginia, is going to do The Giver as well.
Nice.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah. I can't wait for that. That'll be great.
And any of you can pop on anything if you want.
Like in the middle of the episode, one of us can just pop on for like 10 minutes and be like,
And go.
"Woo!" and then go away.
Unannounced.
Like a horror movie? It's like a scary movie.
With mask on, like a scary mask. Turns on.
I thought more like a prank, not like.
Hello? You're behind me? What?
You know I'm gonna
No,
remember
that's
this
not
and
that bad.
totally show up one time with a weird mask on.
Obviously,
so
yeah.
just warning
Perfect.
you all.
I can't wait.
If you've enjoyed these video highlights, listen to the full episode on our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. Remember to like and subscribe and ring that bell to be notified when new episodes are published. Find out more by going to www.bookinterrupted.com.
Never forget, every child matters.